What really happened in America's past? We break it down one story at a time. Welcome to USA History Lane. What if one of the most infamous political murders in history was captured by a single 26-second home movie and still left the world debating what really happened more than 60 years later? On November 22, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in broad daylight in Dallas, Texas. That moment didn't just take the life of a sitting president. It opened a wound in American history that has never fully healed. That Friday afternoon, Kennedy and First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy were in Texas as part of a 5-city political tour meant to strengthen Democratic unity ahead of the 1964 election. The atmosphere in Dallas appeared welcoming. Crowds lined the streets, waving flags and cheering as the president rode through the city in an open-top limousine, a decision Kennedy favored because he believed visibility symbolized confidence and trust. As the motorcade turned onto Elm Street in Dealey Plaza at exactly 12:30 p.m., the moment seemed celebratory until gunshots shattered the calm. Witnesses later reported hearing at least 3 shots in rapid succession. The first struck Kennedy in the upper back and exited through his throat. The second wounded Texas Governor John B. Connally, who was seated in front of the president, shattering his wrist and lodging in his thigh. The final shot struck Kennedy in the head, causing fatal injuries. Jacqueline Kennedy instinctively climbed onto the rear of the limousine, later believed to be reaching for fragments of her husband as Secret Service agents sped the car toward Parkland Memorial Hospital. Doctors worked desperately to save the president, but at 1 p.m., John F. Kennedy was pronounced dead. What made this assassination unlike any before it was that much of it was caught on film. A Dallas dressmaker named Abraham Zapruder had been standing on a concrete pedestal, filming the motorcade with an 8mm camera. His short home movie captured the exact moment Kennedy was struck, including the devastating head wounds seen in what became known as Frame 313. That footage would later become one of the most analyzed films in history, scrutinized frame by investigators, journalists, scientists, and the public, fueling questions about bullet trajectories and the number of shooters involved. As shock spread across the nation, Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson was rushed out of Dallas under heavy protection. At 2:38 p.m., aboard Air Force One, Johnson was sworn in as the 36th President of the United States. Jacqueline Kennedy stood beside him, still wearing the blood-stained pink suit she had worn in the motorcade, a silent symbol of the day's horror. Within hours, police focused their investigation on the Texas School Book Depository, the building overlooking the assassination route. On the 6th floor, officers discovered spent shell casings and a bolt-action rifle. One employee was missing: Lee Harvey Oswald, a 24-year-old former U.S. Marine who had previously defected to the Soviet Union and openly supported Marxist causes. Oswald had only recently returned to Dallas and secured a job at the depository just weeks before the assassination. Less than an hour after Kennedy was shot, Oswald encountered Dallas police officer J.D. Tippit in a residential neighborhood. Tippit was shot and killed with a .38 revolver. Witnesses identified Oswald as the shooter. Shortly afterward, Oswald was arrested inside the Texas Theater after being recognized and resisting police. He was charged with the murders of President Kennedy and Officer Tippit, though he denied all accusations, famously telling reporters, "I'm just a patsy." 2 days later, before Oswald could stand trial or testify under oath, the case took another shocking turn. On November 24, 1963, while being transferred through the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters, Oswald was shot and killed by Jack Ruby, a nightclub owner with known connections to organized crime figures. The killing was broadcast live on national television, marking the first time millions of Americans witnessed a murder in real time. Ruby claimed he acted out of grief and anger, saying he wanted to spare Jacqueline Kennedy the pain of a trial. But his actions immediately fueled suspicions of a larger conspiracy. Ruby was arrested, convicted of murder, and sentenced to death, though his conviction was later overturned on appeal. Before a new trial could begin, he died of lung cancer in 1967, taking any deeper explanation of his motives with him. To calm a shaken nation, President Johnson established the Warren Commission, led by Chief Justice Earl Warren. After nearly a year of investigation, the commission concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone and that there was no credible evidence of an organized conspiracy. According to the report, All shots were fired from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository, and Oswald fired all of them. Central to this conclusion was the controversial single bullet theory, which suggested one bullet passed through Kennedy and then wounded Connally, an explanation that many Americans found difficult to accept. Public trust in the official findings eroded quickly. Polls in the decades that followed showed that a majority of Americans believed more than one person was involved in the assassination. Alternative theories emerged, pointing to a second shooter on the grassy knoll, organized crime retaliation, CIA involvement, or foreign interference from Cuba or the Soviet Union. While none of these theories have been definitively proven, each gained traction due to inconsistencies in witness testimony, medical evidence, and long-withheld government documents. In the years since, thousands of classified records related to the assassination have been released, including documents revealing that U.S. intelligence agencies had been monitoring Oswald more closely than previously acknowledged, particularly during his trip to Mexico City shortly before the assassination. While these releases have not overturned the lone gunman conclusion, they have confirmed that significant information was withheld from the public for decades. Even today, some files remain partially redacted, continuing to fuel speculation and debate. Dealey Plaza now stands as one of the most studied crime scenes in history. The assassination of John F. Kennedy marked a turning point in American society, ending an era of post-war optimism and beginning a period of widespread distrust in institutions and official narratives. Whether Oswald truly acted alone or was part of something larger remains unresolved in the public mind. What is certain is that in a matter of seconds, the course of American history changed forever, and the mystery of that day continues to echo across generations.